Welcome to a brand new episode of the Dubai Real Estate Podcast. Joining with me today is Raj from my content team as we discuss a very important topic, the oversupply in the Dubai real estate market versus the undersupply. This episode is packed with tremendous value, so I hope you enjoy it. And if you're watching this on youtube.com/Tahir Majithia, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all the latest episodes. So now let's get into the discussion.
Tahir, if there is one way that people describe the Dubai real estate and property market in very broad terms, it's oversupply and undersupply. So in today's episode, we're going to be spending all of our time and all of our focus talking about that and demystifying it.
Yes,
are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let's start from the beginning. We all know what oversupply and undersupply means in broad terms. What does it mean in the context of an investor thinking about investing their money in Dubai real estate?
Look, Raj, first of all, let me clear certain things. There have been a lot of talks about the Dubai market overall being oversupplied. And we've been hearing this since the past few years that the Dubai market is in oversupply and this market's not going to recover because there's too much supply, too many properties, less buyers, less tenants.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes and no. Mm-hmm. Okay. You need to understand that what is oversupply of property, where there is a lot of a particular type of property and there are less buyers or renters for that particular property. So that property is sitting vacant, it's ready and it's not getting occupied.
Yeah.
So that's oversupplied property. What is undersupplied? Undersupplied is basically you have, say, in a particular area or a community or a particular type of property, which is high in demand. It's difficult to find a vacant unit either to rent or to sell. Okay, so that is a property which is an undersupply, and there are like 5 buyers and 1 property available of that particular type. Mm-hmm. Now, when we talk about the market in general, you will find both these type of properties. Okay, it's not that you cannot put in generic terms that the entire market is oversupplied or the entire market is undersupplied.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wrong. Even when the markets were down, there were still some properties which were in demand and they were moving faster than some other properties.
Yeah. And
and that's predominantly the state. It's always been that way. Also, you need to consider the fact that Dubai, because we've always spoken about in our previous real estate masterclass series as well. I've said that Dubai is a very different market. It's a new city. It's a new market. This market has barely matured or started maturing because it's barely 18, 19-year-old market. So you need to understand the communities which are new. Now we are seeing some communities which are fully developed. Okay. Now, if you talk about, say, something like a Dubai Marina, today Dubai Marina is more or less complete. There's barely any new development happening there, maybe 1 or 2. Okay. So there's no new supply coming into that particular community. Mm-hmm. So now what happens is, till the time there's demand for that community is going to remain undersupplied unless the demand for that community falls over a period of years, maybe in the future, 20 years, 10, I don't know, any number of years down the line, that some other community is now more preferred than Dubai Marina, then it's a different thing. But till such time, there's always going to remain an undersupply of certain properties. And at the same time, there are some properties which are oversupply.
So what you're saying is that true undersupply can only exist in an area where all of the whole area properties have been built and there's no more square footage. And the only way you're going to get an undersupply event there is if all of those properties have been built and for some reason, let's say old age, people stop moving into that area over a period of time and create a vacuum, a chasm of property that's available, right? So if there's 10,000 properties, 10,000 apartments available in Marina and there's no more space for buildings and those 10,000 are full, that's true undersupply.
Yes.
Unless people start moving out and going somewhere else.
That is one of the main criteria of having the property undersupplied. Second thing is, within a particular community also, there are different types of properties. So now that we're talking about Dubai Marina, so let's talk about Dubai Marina is being built since the past 15, 16 years. Now, there are some buildings in Dubai Marina which within that community also are not so high in demand. And there are some buildings which are really high in demand. Now, why does that happen? The main reason is the design, the build quality, the overall fit finish of the building, the layouts, and the location within the community as well. Okay, these things also matter. Now, if we talk about Dubai Marina, there's a project called Marina Gate, which is the one of the recent developments to get completed, and it's one of the best developments in Dubai Marina. So now, when most of it is complete, this is the newest development. It's one of the most high in demand developments there for a reason, because it's a new development, not just new, it is made really nice, good build quality, good layouts, ticks most of the boxes. And on top of it, one of the best locations within Dubai Marina. Now, there are some buildings in Dubai Marina which are, not so high in demand, because not just because they are old, it's all because the layouts were not so nice, the buildings were not planned well, the amenities, facilities were not so good. So, it also depends on the type of the property within a community. Same way, when you talk about overall Dubai, it also matters what type of property you're talking about.
So, let's say you're talking to an investor.
Yeah.
Surely, I'm not an investor, but surely if I was, and I heard about these swings in the market, whether it be from the press or from the media, that you're getting big swings every 2 to 5 years. And broadly speaking, people talk about Dubai as being undersupplied or oversupplied. Surely when you talk to investors, that's a red flag moment for them. They must get worried. Like, how do you either explain this to your investors or help them navigate these swings?
Look, the first thing when I tell any investor to look at when they're investing, okay, because when you're investing for returns and to get maximum value out of your investment. The first and most important thing is you need to invest into a property which is high in demand. Yes, a property which is high in demand will also be, you might be paying a premium to get that, but that's sometimes okay. I'm not saying every time, sometimes it's okay. Not only that, there are some developments which are also happening currently in Dubai, which are very well priced. They're at a great value, and they are not being built as mass developments. When I say mass developments, we're not, it's not like a master community which will come up with, say, 10,000 or 20,000 units. No, there are some very nice developments which are more like boutique communities, which are coming up with very few number of apartments in very premium locations, which once it's ready will be extremely high in demand. Why? Because there's not much around in those communities. These are absolutely brand new properties, A-grade locations. So taking into consideration what type of property you're investing in, whether it's an apartment, villa, townhouse, you need to see that whichever community you're investing in, what is the overall future of the community, the present of the community, what is built around, what is not built around. If you're investing into a future community, you need to make sure that it's not something that a kind of type of property which you buy and the master developer is going to come up with hundreds of more of the same type of property.
Yeah.
So these are the factors which you need to consider. And in any market, let me tell you this, Raj, I've had, I've been fortunate enough to, help investors get a good return even in the down markets. Okay, today markets are, much better than what they were 2 years back. So in general, whatever you bought in 2019 today is selling, at a higher value. Most of the stuff, not everything. But even back in 2016, when the markets were declining, I had, guided my investors to buy certain type of properties, which they bought just based on trust, saying, okay, fine, you're telling me I'm buying this. And when those properties got ready in 2017, we were lucky enough to manage to sell them at a premium, even when the entire markets were going down. The reason for that is because you selected the right type of property, which was undersupply. When those properties got ready, when people saw the actual product, People are like, wow, this is something which is really nice, and people were willing to pay a premium for that, even when the entire markets are going down.
So what markers should you be looking at? Is it would be the developer, the the area, the neighborhood, and
Look, it
the
is
type of property?
it's a complete mix of everything, Raj.
Right.
Just a branded developer doesn't mean you are going to get a premium,
Yep.
or just a good location doesn't mean you're going to get, your investment is going to be right, or just the right price point doesn't mean that you're going to have the right property. It's everything put together. You need to be in the right location, the right type of property within the location, and within the development also the right unit within the development. That all these things put together actually make your investment the right investment.
Okay, so a question then is, how far in the future can you even look? When you're talking to your investors at the moment, are they looking at making purchases and holding properties or living in properties on a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year window? Like, for example, if you look at like Blue Water Island and La Mer, they kind of opened it, and it has been a case of if you build it, they will come. Namely, the Dubai Eye. That's the name of it, right? The Dubai Eye.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that's the thing that in front of our eyes, no pun intended, over the last 3 years has started to slowly bring demand generation in as the hotels have opened,
Yes.
as the F&B outlets have opened, as the retail outlets have opened. That looks like a place where you could look into the future 3 to 5 years and see it come together. Can you apply that same approach to other areas in Dubai?
Look, Raj, that's a great question, and this is where most investors, sometimes get it wrong. See, every developer is going to showcase the master community that this is going to come in, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. One criteria which I tell people is that when you're investing into something and you're seeing, you're investing for a better value in the future, you want appreciation of your property. Now, let's take an example of Blue Waters. When Blue Waters started selling, back in 2017, 18, people thought it was very expensive. It didn't sell out in one go. No, slowly. And the developer was also not so desperate to sell it out. They completed the entire building, and then they started, selling building by building. They opened up apartments. Now, here, we were talking about, getting an appreciation once the Dubai Eye starts, things get there. But, you need to understand that here, when we started selling those apartments, we could see the structure more or less, completed. The wheel is still not open as we record this episode, but we see that now there's a lot more movement. They've started testing. It's in the final stages and will be open soon. At that time, the restaurants and bars were not open there. The hotel was fairly new. Now, 2-3 years down the line, when people have actually moved into that community and all. Now, today, when you go to Blue Waters, the area started picking up very well. The wheel is now slowly coming to life, and soon it will be open. So once it's open, it's going to be one of the most, a key destination for any visitor in coming to Dubai to visit. So that obviously is going to, drive the property prices there even higher, right? So this is just one example. So this is something when an investor invested, he took 3-4 years, 5 years into consideration, stating that, okay, this is the future thing. Now, there are some communities in Dubai which are being built currently where, there are talks of, something coming up, a master attraction or something like that. My advice to my investors is always that when you're buying into a community, the two things. One is if you're getting it at the right price. I mean, if you're paying the future appreciation today, considering that something is going to be built, that's not the best scenario. And that is something which I don't advise. If you're paying a right value today, considering that what is going to be built, okay, it might get delayed or whatever, but still if it's at a fair value, you're good at it. But if you're considering that, okay, this will come up and I will get an appreciation based on that, but you're already paying more for buying that property, that's not right. You need to make sure that whichever, in a master community, whatever the key points are. So just giving an example, okay, we were talking about Blue Waters. Now the wheel was at least there. It was not ground zero that you don't know when it's going to get ready. Okay, it could get delayed. These big infrastructure projects, it's very normal for it to, get pushed by a few months or a year. But till the time you know that it's there, they built it, they're at least halfway through, so you know they're going to complete it, right? Say similar, like, and also what you need to understand is what's going to come in the future. Now, something like a Blue Waters was completely built in terms of the infrastructure and the structures. So there was no new land over there where another residential building is going to come. So whatever apartments were built were only those 650, 670 odd apartments. So you know that once those are all sold, the demand is going to go up.
So I completely understand. If you look at things on a individual basis, on an individual development basis, area or property type, you're not going to see such big swings because it's all contextual. But in terms of like the highest level, looking at the market, what are the factors that have occurred that have caused at least the perception of a big swing? Is there anything or anyone that's contributed to at least a perception of oversupply and undersupply in Dubai?
Look, Raj, let me, for anybody investing in Dubai, one thing they need to understand is how the market was a few years back. Okay. Yes, COVID, has driven the demand for larger homes across the globe, not just in Dubai. Across the globe, the demand for homes and larger homes have gone up because people are spending a lot more time at their homes, and that's the reason they want larger spaces. And that's the reason even the demand in the villas and townhouses have gone up across Dubai. This, yes, is one of the reasons to drive up this demand. But at the same time, what happened is when the markets started declining in 2014, somewhere in quarter 3 onwards.
Yeah.
So the markets were going down. The developers still had to launch. They had their plans, and there were a lot of new projects which got launched from 2015, 16, 17, 18. We saw a lot of launches in those years. So what most of the developers did is to keep the price points low. They didn't really reduce the price per square foot what they were selling at. They started reducing the sizes. So just to give you an example, say a one bedroom used to be, say 850, 900,000 square foot in a community. They started reducing, became 700, 750, 650, 600, some even at 550, 600. Okay.
Wow.
And some even in some communities I've seen even going down to 450, 500, right? The same one bedroom apartment.
The price per square foot is the same price, but the ticket price is half.
Ticket price is half. So now, if a developer was selling, say, at 1,000 dirhams a square foot, they were selling a one bedroom, say, for 1 million. The ticket price of the one bedroom came down to 500,000 dirhams, right? Now, this was basically done to attract people. A lot of people don't really understand, these things, but they are very simple things. But when you're investing in real estate, these things are very important to understand. So because of that, what happens? The spaces became smaller. Okay, some people would argue that the layouts were very efficient and well planned. Okay, agreed, they were well planned. But at the end of the day, space is space, right? So that is something which happened. Now, what happened is, when these properties were being built, obviously they were being sold off plan, on paper. So people didn't realize that they bought it. They bought it thinking, a one bedroom was 1 million dirham. I'm getting it for 500,000 dirham or 600,000 dirhams. So my property, when it gets ready, is going to get to 1 million dirhams. But that's not the case. The thing is, the sizes became smaller. Now, when these properties got handed over, that's the time when people actually realize that, okay, it's the space is smaller. Now, secondly, because of this, overall in the market, a lot of people didn't go in for luxury developments. Even the major developers, they didn't really go in for very, big luxury developments. There were a few, but not all. The general market sentiment was make affordable, make homes which are at a smaller ticket price to attract more people, and the focus went on to affordable housing.
Yeah.
So because of that, whatever was being built was being more focused towards the affordable segment. Now, when the demand started coming up, the demand started with luxury and larger homes, right? Now, so you're in a situation where the last few years, people didn't really make those kind of homes. They made more affordable homes. And now the demand all of a sudden came for a totally different segment, which was not really built too much in numbers over the past few years. And that has really caused this imbalance in the market today. We're seeing a lot of townhouses, villas in demand, larger apartments also. We're seeing, larger penthouses, bigger apartments in demand. And that's fairly because of this reason.
So with these larger things, larger properties coming into the market, to build out an area, a neighborhood where you've got larger properties, that whole area needs to be quite big, right? Dubai Hills is a good example of that.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, are there any upcoming master communities that you think will physically push out the boundaries of what we call livable Dubai? We've spoken about on this podcast before that there's some key areas with Marina being the south, downtown, maybe Sheikh Zayed Road being the north. But if you imagine like a highlight, a marker pen around what is considered livable Dubai, which neighborhoods are going to push those boundaries out further in the next few years?
Look, Raj, firstly, one of the key master communities which would push the boundaries is Dubai South, where the whole Expo 2020 is happening. So we already have the Expo ground ready.
So give us a snapshot of what kind of residential opportunities are available there.
So look, currently the residential opportunities are not too many in numbers, but there are a lot of plans which are there because it's going to be like a mini city within the city. So you already have the Expo 2020, the ground ready and the exhibition hall ready. You already have an airport which is ready. Obviously, because of the situation, it's not, operational. I mean, it is operational, but not to the extent what it should be. There is already a metro which is existing. It's already functional and operational. In terms of currently, in terms of choices of, you have few apartments which are ready over there. You have townhouses and villas which are coming, which should be handing over very soon. There are multiple options. Even Emaar is building a master community called Emaar South over there. So there are few options. But I feel, to answer your question, that pushing the bounds like a future community, yes, in the future, like 5-10 years down the line, I see that area coming up really well in terms of a complete, community and a new hub, you could say. Also, one community which is really, which I feel is going to come up as a future community in Dubai, as a master community, is Dubai Creek Harbour, because Dubai Creek Harbour again is a huge development. It's people have started moving in, but what we see today is barely, I feel, 10 or 15% of the entire master community, which is still to come, online. And that's going to have a lot of new attractions, new things planned. And that's again going to be like a future community.
So you were talking about Expo, and everybody knows the Expo has been pushed back a year into 2021. The main driver for that being COVID. If we look at the market almost being pulled by two horses, one is COVID, the other is Expo, specifically in Dubai, is there a particular good time to strike and buy a property? So let me break it up into some chunks before you answer that. One would be pre-Expo. The other one would be during Expo. And then the third one would be after Expo, which hopefully, God willing, is a time where COVID is very much under control. So if you think about those three broad windows, is there a particular time where it's good to invest, and why?
Look, Raj, let me tell you something. When you talk about investing in property, most people, have this thing that, okay, I bought it when the markets were low, I bought it when the markets were high. In all these three scenarios, what you need to look at is the opportunity and the value you're getting at the time of you making the purchase, right? If you're buying something today, no matter whether it is now, whether it is during the Expo or once the Expo is over, if you're buying something which at the time of your purchase is a fair value, it's the right opportunity. Because you need to compare what you're buying at the time of you buying it, okay? Because if you're buying in any of these scenarios, you need to look at factors on, as I said earlier, what type of property? Is it a good development? Is it a good unit within the development? At the same time, are you getting the right price? Right now, if someone says, "Oh, this used to be at this price, but today is more," but then today the value of that thing has changed, and there's no guarantee it will go down to that same price or no,
But
and it could even go higher. Like,
what are the features of that though? I guess my question is like, you know, in simple terms, for maybe even for a first time investor, is it worth holding on till after Expo because whatever's not sold, the prices could be reduced and you could get a bargain? Or
look, it could go both ways, Raj. One
Yeah.
thing, one scenario is that after the expo, we see again like a surge of buyers, all of a sudden wanting to buy properties, and we run into a situation where there's extreme undersupply, or it could also be a situation that, okay, fine, it's the demand is lukewarm and you're getting fair deals, or there's absolutely flat demand. Okay, and there is people are not really wanting to buy now. In my experience, after the expo, people will be exposed to the buy more. People will come to the buy more. People will know about the buy more. Okay, so in all the chances are basically there will be a higher demand for properties. Not only that, with all the changes the government's made past few years in terms of the regulations, ownership, a lot of legal changes in the entire ownership system of companies, it has attracted a lot of people to set up base in Dubai. So obviously it's tax free. A lot of people are tired of paying taxes in other countries. They've set up their base. Not only so, if when someone is moving in or setting up a business over here, by the time they are fully operational and the setup grows, it takes some time. So now we're seeing a lot of people moving to Dubai. By the time they set up their businesses and they are actually full-fledged operational, it could take a couple of years, and then we will see the effect of this later on. So this could also drive the demand up. Now, with all that being said, Raj, as I've said previously also in one of the episodes, that currently as we speak, still India, Pakistan, Saudi, UK, these countries are not yet open for travel. And as we head into Expo, a lot of countries will be open to travel, and we'll see a lot of investors coming in. And the demand in the market is definitely going to go up. At least in the near future, I'm seeing a huge spike in the demand. People are considering that it's already spiked up, but we're seeing that, I feel that demand is fairly going to go up going into Expo 2020.
So how could you get ahead of that demand? Like Zoom?
Look, yeah, you could get on
viewings?
Zoom. I have a lot of investors currently, deciding properties sitting overseas because, the systems are such that you can actually even buy properties being overseas, and you don't necessarily need to come here. I'm actually even doing a lot of Zoom viewings when I'm actually driving through with my, phone on Zoom, taking them through as a virtual experience. So there are people who are willing to take that, opportunity, grab that opportunity today.
Okay, couple of questions to kind of like wind down in the back third of this podcast. If you took all of the instances where there's undersupply and added in all the instances where there's oversupply, where is Dubai today net? I know that on a per neighborhood, per development, per category basis of property, it's nuanced, but really looking from the bird's eye point of view, where are we?
Look, Raj, as we speak, most of the good communities today are in undersupply. Okay. Having said that, there are some communities which currently, okay, there could be more supply and less demand. But slowly, this demand will rise up, because once, the demand starts picking up, okay, there are some segments which pick up first and then the other segments follow. So currently with this whole demand, luxury started picking up really well. At the same time, townhouses and villas started picking up really well. Now, what will happen is there is a lot of demand currently in the market. There is no denial. Slowly, we are also seeing the demand picking up in the affordable segment as well.
Wow.
which was not really the case 6 months before
Yeah.
or a year before. But now that's also starting to pick up. And also, one very important thing which people need to understand, yes, we were talking about oversupply 3 years, 4 years back, but come 2019, 2021, there haven't been too many launches. Previously, there used to be a launch literally every week or 2 weeks. Okay, so
A launch of a new
a
development.
launch of a new development. Okay, back in 2017, 18, we were seeing a lot of new launches. 2019 onwards, slowly, those launches started slowing down. Last year, what we saw, and right now in this year, we've seen a lot of new launches amongst the larger townhouses or villas, be it Tilal Al Gaf or we have Arabian Ranches 3 coming up with individual villas. So now here again, I would just point out one more thing, See, even the master developers, they change their plans depending on how the markets go. So when something like Tilal Al Gaf launched last year, which was just before COVID, they launched townhouses. Then they realized the demand for villas have really come in high. They launched 3, 4, and 5 bedroom independent villas.
So halfway through a development project, they switched, took a plot of land and changed it from...
I mean, they had land, so what they changed their plans, they changed the future plans. Okay, same way with the Arabian Ranches 3. When Arabian Ranches 3 started, they started with townhouses, 3 and 4 bedroom townhouses, and now they're launching independent villas, which are 3, 4, 5 bedroom independent villas, starting from 3.5 million, going up to 5.5, 5.6 million, or even more. Right now, when that community was launched, they were selling townhouses at 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. In that 1.3, 1.4 to 2 million price bracket. Now, with the demand being for larger homes, they've shifted the future, launch into larger villas. They're starting from 3.5 million dirhams. So this is also, something which is which people need to consider. That the demand, as the demand changes, even the developers adapt to that. Having said that, 2019 to 2020, 21, there were very few launches which happened. Okay, and whatever these launches they've happened is they've been not too many in numbers. They've been very selective developments, very few in numbers, and they're getting sold out. And which is honestly, which is good. Even developers, what they're doing now as a strategy, they before they go ahead and launch the project, they're seeing what the demand is, what the response is for a particular type of a launch, and if they feel yes, that this is getting a lot of expression of interest, then they're putting that product in the market so that demand and supply remain balanced somewhere.
So there is such a state as correct supply demand.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, correct supply as opposed to over or under.
Yes. There have been, currently we're seeing a lot of larger homes selling. Having said that, the affordable homes, they're already ready. So sooner or later, we'll see those things also pick up. And come Expo 2020, I'm quite positive that this some places which still have people are talking about oversupply and all. In the next 1 year or so, we won't be really talking about, because look, anything which even launches today, it's not going to be ready in the next 1 or 2 years. Most of these developments will take at least 3 years, 4 years. Today, when someone buys something, we are talking about handover in 2024, 2025. And it's very normal for a development to get delayed by 6 months to a year. So, we're not seeing those apartments coming available in the next 3, 4, 5 years, or villas, whatever.
And people hear about these opportunities where?
I mean, they can definitely get in touch with me. They can follow me on all my social media handles, and I keep posting regular updates, especially on Instagram and TikTok, on whatever's going on in the market day-to-day basis.
Let's just, before we head into the outro then, you just mentioned social media. What has been the role of social media in demand generation? You can answer this, by the way, for the country, or on a per area basis, or on a per development basis.
Look,
what role is it playing?
Social media overall has played a very important role of lately, and it's one is on as a city, Dubai. Yes, it's I probably feel it's one of the most Instagrammable places, or Instagrammable cities in the world. Having said that, we're also seeing there's some communities, for example, District 1, okay, and this is my personal opinion. I've seen this, there's a very famous French family, very famous on YouTube and social media. They stay there, and we've seen a lot of demand from, particular communities coming in that community because of the influence of social media.
The cynic in me would say, are they this? I think it's not too difficult to find out who these folks are. It's a very easy YouTube search. But are they actual formal brand ambassadors, or are they?
No, they're not really brand ambassadors. They like the community, they lived in the community, and they're content creators. So they're creating content in that particular place. Obviously, people are more curious to know what it is, where it is.
As a final segue, then, talking about content creators, what role has, and you can give away as much as you like here, but what role has social media played on you and your relationship with your clients and sourcing deals, and maybe even from your observation, the impacts it's had on other real estate consultants that you know in Dubai?
Look, Raj, social media has created a lot of impact. Today, social media is a huge part of my business, and content creation is something which is, I tell anyone I meet that, look, this is something which you should get into. And but one thing which people don't really, understand, that it's not about just creating content or putting up just a video. No, it's also about consuming, right? It's because I spend a lot of time on social media consuming content, researching myself on what should be done, what should not be done. Okay, and that's where a lot of people miss out on. They feel that it's just about putting up a post and then leaving it behind. No, it's like a full-time thing. You need to be into the game.
So it's a great source of reading the market, as well as...
It's 100% a great source of reading the market. It's a great source of reading trends. It's a great source of knowing your clients.
It's a good place to enter here.
And also, let me add one more thing. It's also a great place to make relations and build relationship and build trust with your clients. It's because, look, today we are in this world where people do not want to, people need to cut down physical interaction, because of the whole pandemic and all. So social media has really, really helped me gain a lot of presence. I've been able to, people have been able to see what properties are or what they want to know is just by going through my YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, whichever platform they're on.
But when they go to your YouTube or TikTok, they obviously have to look at the things you've put out there, the videos you've put out there, and then in their mind make some assumptions and reverse engineer how it works. Are you prepared to give advice to other real estate consultants? I know that you're quite far ahead.
I'm here to add value. I'm here to give, right? I'm not here to sell. I'm not doing this to just sell. I'm here to give value. If you go and check any of my real estate masterclass or any of my FAQs, people can get a lot of value. And I've put out so much content out there that they can go, if they follow whatever I've said in all those videos, they can make the right decision of buying a property themselves. It's all about adding value.
And any recommendations for a real estate consultant or anybody in the industry right now who's trying to put out content at maybe not on the same scale or volume that you're doing, but maybe first steps? Or what advice would you give yourself a couple of years ago if you were to start now?
Look, I would just say, one thing which is very important is be yourself. Be yourself, be honest, and put out genuine content. Just go ahead, give out value. Think of it that someone seeing this video or hearing this or watching this is giving you time, is giving you attention. They should get something out of it.
Being yourself sounds like an easy thing, though. Is it? Is
it's
that
very
hard?
easy.
Is it a journey?
It's very easy, Raj. But the problem is a lot of people don't want to be that. They want to be something else. A lot of people think, oh, is this picture looking nice? Is this looking nice? No, that's not the thing. You need to be yourself. Because if you are fake, if you are not what you are, when the person meets you, he's going to come to know in 5 minutes. Right? I mean, now I could be in a suit and a tie and put up some nice profile picture, but when he meets me, he sees me in a t-shirt and be like, what the hell? I don't want to do that. I want to build trust. I don't want to break trust.
Superb place to end. Thanks, Tahir. With regards to understanding oversupply and undersupply in any particular part of Dubai, any particular development, or for that matter, any particular category of property, where can folks contact you?
They could reach out to me on any of my social media channels, drop me a DM, send me an email on tahir@trustedhomesdubai.com, and I'm always happy to help.
Really great podcast to hear. Thanks so much. Go ahead
Thanks,
and read us
Raj.
out.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dubai Real Estate Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the like, notification bell, and leave your feedback in the comments below. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and review. This really helps us getting discovered. Spotify listeners, please do follow. And if you need my contact details are there in the description or the show notes below. And I hope to see you in Dubai very soon.